Join me right now on Kumite TV is the Invicta FC atomweight champion, Jinh Yu Frey. What's going on, Jin?
Not a lot.
Let's go back to Invicta FC 30. You get the atomweight title wrapped around your waist. You worked a long time to reach that feat. Where does that rank in your accomplishments in life?
Um, I would say it's definitely one of my top ones. The road to get there was a long and bumpy and not so linear line. But I'm the kind of person that I don't really dwell too long on my accomplishments. Like once I reach one summit, like I'm already starting to kind of eyeball a new one. So it was a great moment in my life, and one of my biggest accomplishments. But I'm not ready. I'm not ready to stop. I'm ready to keep pursuing other summits.
There was a lot of controversy surrounding that fight afterwards. Were you affected in any way from what was going on?
Um, I think I would be lying if I said I didn't. Obviously, um, nobody wants to have like a controversial win, and they don't want you know people to be questioning, whether or not they got the win. It just kind of leaves like a sour taste in your mouth. So I definitely when Shannon called and offered the rematch, I said absolutely, I'll do it again. It wasn't a fluke. I'll beat her again, and I'll, I want to do so more definitively.
Yeah, you definitely went in there. You beat her again. How do you feel about the performance you had in the rematch compared to the first fight?
I was definitely happier with it. I mean, I still didn't get my finish, so it's still, that would have been like the cherry on the top of the cake. But, I felt a lot better about my performance. And, it's kind of funny. I had heard like an interview, and she was saying that at the end, or in the first fight, she was like, oh, I don't think she wanted to be in there with me. And I definitely felt, towards the later rounds, like that was not the fight that she wanted. She didn't want like a dirty, gritty fight where, we're bleeding all over each other and just exchanging blows. Like that was not the fight she wanted. Like I definitely got the feeling that she wanted out of there.
You spent almost all of 2018 focused on Minna. How happy are you to move on from that saga?
It feels good. Like I don't really want to think about her anymore. she's had enough rent space in my head. I'm over it.
Now you do get to, challenge another summit. You're going to Japan. You're going to challenge for the super atomweight title versus Ayaka Hamasaki. How did this fight all come together? Because it was a surprise to many.
Um, they had reached out like earlier in the year and offered the fight, and of course I was like, yes, I'll take that rematch. I want another shot at that. And then just kind of back and forth, it kind of fell apart, and I kind of already written it off. Like we were, they had been going back and forth with my manager, and it just didn't seem like anything was coming to fruition, like nothing solid. And so, like I said, I'd already written it off. I had already been in talks with Shannon about defending my belt this summer, and was pretty set on that. And then, like out of nowhere, they kind of came through with some concrete, solid offers. And it's not the most ideal situation. It's kind of short notice, but I'm not about to let this opportunity like pass me by.
What were some of the barriers that kind of delayed the fight?
Well, like originally they offered it, and I said yes, and then they came back and they were like, Ayaka's not going to be ready, but they actually offered somebody else, and I was like, okay, well I'll fight her too. And then they came back and they're like, oh, it's not going to happen, maybe later in the summer. And I was just like, why are y'all being so wishy washy? Like, they reached out to me originally, and then I had to go back and talk to Shannon and get all those permissions and that sort of thing. And then got everything kind of taken care of on my side, and then they came back and then they're like, well, stuff happens. And so, like I said, it had been kind of wishy washy, and then they came back a couple weeks ago, and I don't know. It just like nothing was really solid. Nothing solid was happening. Like there was some back and forths, but In my head, I was like, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm already, focused on defending my Invicta title. But, everything came through at the end, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let this, pass me by.
Yeah, it's great that you got someone like Shannon Knapp running Invicta to allow you to step away from the promotion and challenge for this title because most other promotion wouldn't allow you to do that.
Yeah, Shannon's a great person, and I think she really has everybody's, like, all of the athletes' best interests at heart. She knows that I don't, like, she knows that normally their champions get signed to the UFC, but in my case, I can't. The UFC doesn't have our division, and so I don't. I think she wants me to be able to not miss out on big opportunities that come my way, and I think she knows that me and Ayaka have history that started back in Invicta, and she knows that I want some closure on that. So she was super open to it.
You're fighting in a ring and under different rules. Could you clear up what exactly the rules are?
Okay, so I we negotiated in elbows, so we can throw elbows, but you can knee the head of a downed opponent. Soccer kicks are allowed. Base stomps are allowed. And then I think the judging criteria is different. Like, I don't think that the rounds themselves are judged, but just the fight as a whole. And then just some like other minor details, that I'm gonna have to familiarize myself with. But yeah, fighting in a ring, that's a little wild, different, but it's all right.
Well, in your preparations, you mentioned soccer kicks, knees to a downed opponent, stomps. Does it make this camp a little more interesting for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's just like a whole new can of worms, but it's kind of fun. We've been having some fun with it. So I'm excited. It's a little scary. Like, hey, somebody can soccer kick my head, but that's okay because I can soccer kick somebody else's head too.
What about the ring? Have you been in the ring preparing, or does it really not matter? You just prepare in the open mat.
I've been preparing in a ring some. There's still a lot of unknowns. Like, I don't know how tight the ropes are. I don't know how much give there is. And it looks like their boxing ring is pretty good size. Like, I think it looks larger than like a traditional boxing ring. Um, so I'm doing the best that I can with what I have, but there's still a lot that remains to be seen.
Since your first encounter in 2016, have you been following Hamasaki closely, her career?
Not just super closely. Like, I know that she went up in weight and she was kind of unsuccessful, and then I think she took some time off and then just decided to relinquish and sign with Rizin. But like, I haven't followed it like just super close. Like,
From
I actually wasn't expecting us to ever really rematch again, so I just kind of wasn't keeping up with her. But like I said, they offered it, and I'm like, yeah.
from what you have seen of her, do you think she has evolved, or is she the same fighter?
Yeah, she's crafty, she's tricky, and she's very unorthodox. I saw her last fight with Kana Asakura, and I think it ended in the second round, so there wasn't just a ton of film. And then the previous fights that she's had over there are a little hard to get a hold of. Like, there's really just not a ton of footage. So she looked really similar in her fight with Kana Sakura, but like I said, that was only like 5 or 6 minutes of film, so it wasn't just like a ton to go off of.
What differences do you see in yourself since the first fight?
I think I would hope that I've improved, in every aspect of my game. But one major thing that we've really focused on in the last two fight camps is footwork and not getting stuck, and being able to move using your footwork to bait things and use traps and that sort of thing. So I think that's one really big improvement that I've made.
You have to weigh in at 108 pounds. You have 3 extra pounds. Does that make you a little more happier, during
Yeah,
camp?
I'm so happy. I was thinking about it today, and I'm like, that's like 10,000, over 10,000 calories. That's great. That's fantastic. The weight doesn't seem. I mean, we're still, tracking it. I'm still eating healthy and that sort of thing, but it just doesn't seem like as big of a burden. Um, so it definitely, especially since I'm traveling and having to deal with like finding, all the stuff I need for my weight cut in another country. Like that's, we ran into a couple of issues like when I was in Korea trying to find the stuff that we normally use and the stuff that we normally do. Um, so it gives us a little bit of leeway.
So I guess the experience of going to out to Korea is going to be advantageous for you when you do go out to Japan because it's the time difference, getting used to it and everything.
Um, you would think so, but I mean, it has been like 2 years, almost 2 years now. But it is, I think it is good just to have experienced that to understand like what it's like to have to travel so far and cut weight, deal with all those issues that you deal with fight weight, in a foreign place.
You are attempting something that is huge, in MMA, but you seem like you're kind of, you're really relaxed about it. You're not too overexcited. You're kind of taking it as a regular fight. Is that the attitude that you have?
I feel like that's how I try to take every fight. Like every fight should be the biggest fight of my career. And so for me, it's just kind of another day at the office. It's a huge opportunity, and I've always wanted to fight in Japan. Tons of people are like it's a dream for them to go and fight in Japan, and so I'm not overlooking that, but it's like I'm trying to stay composed, keep calm about it. My last fight camp, my dog passed away like a month before the fight, and so it was just an emotional train wreck, like every single day. And so this time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be calm, I'm gonna be chill. I'm gonna enjoy the fact that I don't have like all of this emotional turmoil, going on while I'm in camp. And yeah, I mean, my husband and I were talking about it the other day, and I'm like, this may only be like my 12th fight, but it's like my sixth title fight or something, like my fifth like world title fight. So it's like this is just another. It is just another day at the office for me. I've been here and done this a lot of times before.
After this rematch is over, do you see yourself, going back over to Asia and rematching another foe, Hamsae, and trying to maybe
Uh,
capture a third title?
I am not close. I'm not opposed to that idea at all. Um, maybe that would me winning this next title. Maybe that would open the door for that. Maybe it would, make it an interesting fight again, and Road might be interested or whatever. I don't know. That remains to be seen. I'm not opposed to the idea, but we'll see, like contractually, how everything works out.
Outside of fighting, I see that you are a gamer. I see that you've been on Twitch. What is so attractive to you about the gaming world and streaming?
I just recently tried streaming. I don't know how great I am at streaming because I have a hard time like multitasking, like playing and talking at the same time. Uh, but I do enjoy gaming, and it's kind of a way to relax, and it's easy on the body because everything else I do is not so easy on the body. So it's nice to just kind of relax and let my mind wander and not have to worry about fighting or that sort of thing, and just it's a good way to kill downtime and forget that I'm hungry when I'm cutting weight. Um, the Twitch thing, it's kind of fun. My husband's like, oh, you should just try it and see. Who knows? It could turn into another like passive revenue stream for you or whatever. I think Sean O'Malley in the UFC makes like a good amount of money streaming. Um, I don't know how great. Like, I don't think I'm a very good streamer because, like I said, it's hard to talk and play at the same time.
All right, one last thing before I let you go. Music and sports, they go hand in hand. Could you give us a peek into your playlist, when you're training or getting ready to train?
It kind of depends. There's a lot of like Dirty Heads and Revolution, like reggae when I'm just like doing jiu-jitsu. Um, but it's definitely a lot more upbeat and maybe a little more hip hopish for striking and that sort of thing. So kind of depends on the mood of the training session.
All right, June 2nd, Rizin 16, Kobe, Japan. Super atomweight title is on the line. Thank you, Jim, for your time, and good luck on your fight.
Thank you.